DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, a cancer that has infected every institution in America, from our education system to medical schools to churches to our government, the highest levels of government. And it's being found in places you would never imagine. And what's worse, when it's left unchecked, it turns into a sick and twisted environment. Did you just take a look at the National Security Agency, the NSA? More than 100 intelligence officers, they've now been sent packing after allegedly engaging in sexually explicit conversations. A sex chat discussing vulgar garbage I can't even mention here occurred under the guise of DEI. Joining me now is the founder and president of IKnowGod.us, Pastor John Amanchukwu. Also with us is host Vince Everett Ellison. You can find his show on X, YouTube, and Rumble. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pastor, does this surprise you that we've got sickos working in the highest level of government?
This is the kind of DEI that the Obama, Biden, and Harris administration wanted. So no, I'm not surprised. And so they wanted, through the NSA, they were fantasizing about having hermaphrodite babies that they could raise to be non-binary. Where does that happen at? I'll tell you where it happens. It happens when Democrat policies are able to run amok. What the Obama, Biden, Harris regime wanted to do to America was averted. And so when we see these things popping up slowly but surely, we're not alarmed or surprised, because this is what the Democrats wanted for America. It's disgusting, and I appreciate President Trump for putting the right people in place to root these things out.
Yeah, they wanted to remove God, and they wanted to make woke their God, right? Bow to the altar of woke. You know, what happened to you were born this way? Now you can inject yourself, cut this part, that part off, and be whoever you want to be. It's like, stop. God made you a certain way, and accept it. God doesn't make mistakes. Now, Vince, Fani Willis, let's talk about her. She's making some news again. She wrote in a letter to Congressman Jim Jordan to stop bullying her because it's Black History Month. This almost sounded like a story from Babylon Bee. You know, it's a parody site, but this is true. Again, to remind our viewing audience, this is the lady who was hooking up with her special prosecutor boyfriend as they were politically persecuting Trump. What do you think about her saying, you know what, don't come after me because it's Black History Month?
Well, these people are entitled. They always believe that they're entitled. You know, just like you said about DEI. The Democratic Party is an evil institution. I've always said it's the party of perverts, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. And they believe now that they are entitled. They believe they should be given things. They believe that if you don't give it to them, that you are evil. They are full of envy. They're full of hate. And when we look at our Bible and it says, thou shalt not covet, you can throw that out the window with them. They're full of pride. What they call it, Black pride, Black History Month, gay pride. And God hates pride. Our Bible tells us that. This is who these people are. They are full of hate. Our Bible tells us that a tree is known by the fruit it bears. That's how you know a false prophet. Well, look at the Black community. We're at the bottom of every socioeconomic statistic in America. When it comes down to home ownership, bottom, education, bottom. But going to jail, fighting, raising hell in the streets, we're at the top. Fani Willis and the leaders of the Black caucus ought to be ashamed of themselves. They ought to be ran out on rails. We need to kick them out the country. Send them back to wherever they came from, and I don't know where that is, and make sure they never come back.
Tell them it like it is, Vince. You know, Pastor, shifting gears a little bit, a new Pew Research study has found that the decline of Christianity in the United States has actually slowed down and may have even leveled off. Do you think maybe this could be part of the Trump effect?
Well, yes, I'll say this. Sadly, today in the Christian church, we need hooked on phonics for Christians, because many Christians don't read the Bible. They don't know what God has said. And so therefore, they're duped by ideologies of the left. I do believe that we will see revival in this country. We're now in what is called the golden age. And when you have a president who comes on the scene from day one and supports scripture, i.e. Genesis 1:27, making it known in America that we only celebrate two sexes. You know, the idea of gender is a spectrum. You have over 72 different genders today and counting. But President Trump is doing what's necessary to move America in the right direction, even with the faith office, and making sure that that Pam Bondi is going to fight against anti-Christian bigotry. We have witnessed the Marxist atheists in society seek to erode the very fabric of our country. And we have a president today who's bringing what is called tone from the top. And I believe that it's going to also stiffen the back of the federal government and state governments, but also the back of the Christian church, so that pastors can begin to proclaim boldly the truth of God's word.
Vince, a minute left. Do you think our country has turned a corner? And if Trump had not been elected, say it had been Kamala Harris, would our country have been on the brink of disaster, possibly of no return?
No, the story you're talking about today also shows that the Democratic Party has turned into an anti-Christian party. It says that only about 36% of liberals consider themselves Christian or religious. That means 67% of the Democratic Party is basically non-Christian. This is a party, as we know, that believes in abortion up to the 9th month. It believes in LGBTQ. Joe Biden took Tennessee to the Supreme Court because he wanted to have no age limit on transgender operations for children. They sexualize our children. They kick the Bible out of the schools, and they bring the porn into our libraries. They kick God out and bring in the drag queens. So what you have here is an anti-Christian party. And I need to give a call out to the black church, like John always does, is that you are siding with a bunch of atheists, a bunch of Marxists, a bunch of anti-Christian bigots against the conservatives, who the same story, I believe, said that about 82% of conservatives say they're Christian. So you're siding with atheists against Christians in a nation that...
Welcome back to Finnerty. So Ireland has got a new resident, and I'm going to quote a movie line here. And if you know what this is from, my goodness, I absolutely adore you. It's going to make sense in just a second. But how about Marla Hooch? What a hitter. What a team.
I'm here in Ireland. Moved here on January 15th, and it's been pretty wonderful. Never someone who thought I would move to another country. When, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
Apparently, the Prime Minister of Ireland has no idea.
Do you know who she is?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You better off not knowing.
I'm going to wear one of those green pocket squares next week for St. Patrick's Day, by the way. I don't know where they get them. I like them. They just stick plants in their coat pocket. It's great. Joining us now for more, founder of I Know God US, Pastor John Amachuku, and host of the Vince Everett Ellison Show, Vince Everett Ellison. Gentlemen, great to see you. Rosie O'Donnell, by the way, Vince, was once a comedian. She doesn't look very funny to me anymore. She says she's not going to come back to the U.S. until all citizens have equal rights. Can you tell me, Vince, a single right that she's lost since Inauguration Day?
Rosie O'Donnell's crazy. I thought that was Granny Clampett when I saw her on the screen there. I mean, you know what? The total IQ of America has gone up. The total IQ of Ireland has gone down since Rosie O'Donnell left. So good riddance, a good riddance to the swimsuit model, Rosie O'Donnell. She's been a canker sore in America ever since she's been here. She's a crude, mean, disrespectful person, and thank God that she's gone. I hope that she stays over there, and I hope that she's already found her burial plot so they can bury her over there.
She's trying to become an Irish citizen, so she's going all the way. Pastor John, I don't know if you've listened. I'm going to guess that you haven't, but Michelle Obama just started a podcast with her brother Craig. The first two episodes, when I say they didn't do well, 13,000 on the first one, 40,000 on the second one. And for anybody that knows anything about podcasts, Vince, you can speak to it too. That's really bad. And Democrats still want her to run for president in 2028. John, I don't think people care about Michelle Obama anymore.
No, they don't. Just keep in mind, if you upload a video on YouTube, you can accidentally get 13,000 views. The reality is this. The Democrats don't have a message. They don't have a mission. They don't have a true campaign. And so what they're trying to do is now, let's go find a black woman who espouses to all of the ideologies of the Democrat Party, and she'll push the trans agenda. She'll push the BLM agenda. She'll take America in a place where we're having hyperbolic conversations about race. And people don't want to tune in.
Vince, 13,000 views. That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. It's just what John said. You know, they saw that Trump went into the manosphere on with the podcast at the end of this election, and that's what tipped him over and made him victorious. They're trying to get into this zone, but again, it's difficult for them because the things that they're talking about are just visceral to the American people.
Yeah.
LGBTQ, climate change, DEI, open borders, allowing people to sleep on the street and defecate on the street. The American people have seen this foolishness, this liberalism, and they don't like it. So I want them to be on YouTube. I want them to be on X. I want them to be out there so people can see them, because the more the American people see them, the more they dislike them. This is good for us.
Pastor John Amachuku, Vince Everett Ellison. Gentlemen, have a great weekend. Hope to see you again next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Coming up on Finnerty on the